Welcome back, everybody. It's that time again. We're getting started with another episode of FlingCon Talks, and we're going to be talking about the con coming up. As you can see behind me, the Winter Con. You can get all the information off of our website, www.flingcon.com. Or, as Jim's going to talk about in just a second, our social media presence also has those dates and times and events. So we would love to see you there. So make sure you have some time in January saved up so that you can come and join us. But we do have some new people here tonight who haven't been with us yet. And so, as always, we're going to take a moment to introduce them. So, Jim, if I can get you just to wave at everybody. This is Jim down here, Jim Cushman. I think I got it right. Did I pronounce it
Yep.
correctly? All right. He is the person who handles all of our social media for FlingCon, and we are so glad to have him. So if you're interacting with us on Facebook or Instagram or any of those other social medias, the odds are, I can't promise you, but the odds are you're communicating with Jim, and he is helping to navigate you through that. So, Jim, just a couple quick questions for you as we get going. First of all, what is your current favorite game?
Okay, so my all-time favorite will always be cribbage, um, because I there's a lot of sentimental stuff with my grandfather, with my baby brother. But right now, my family and I are really enjoying a game that probably could be broken very easily. Um, but we're having a lot of fun with a game called Wasabi.
Hmm.
And it's a dice game. It's a kitchen table type game. We play it when we're waiting for food at the restaurant. We get questions about it all the time, which is great. Um, but yeah, it's a fun little you're trying to get rid of your dice pool with a couple card mechanics and all that. And it's like I say, some of the cards you could probably it's kind of broken. It can go swinging real quick.
Oh, sure.
But my kids and my wife and I are having a lot of fun with it. So I'll put that one. I'll put wasabi as my top right now.
Is that spelled the same way as the Japanese horseradish?
It's got a Z in it instead of the S.
Okay. I wonder if it's just as hot.
It's hard to find now. I will say that it is a hard to find one, and even the one I have is a busted copy. I don't have all of the dice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I ended up picking up from uh oh goodness, PAX South. When we had PAX South, I worked with them, and they when a game's broken, they kind of let it go to the masses that volunteer for them. So
So, how did you get into the hobby of board gaming?
wow. Well, when I was a kid, so I am told my great grandfather was huge game type person. And I started playing Go Fish and Yahtzee and five card draw.
Oh, yep.
Probably 4 or 5 years old.
Hmm.
Checkers, those kind of things. But gaming, like games, have always been a part of my life. It was a big part of me growing up. There were times, there were definitely times that I remember during high school, I was almost falling asleep during game night, and my grandfather would get after me to either wake up or go to bed. And if I went to bed, there would be consequences. Yeah. So we always had games, and I stepped away for a little while. I was, doing that whole adult thing.
Hmm.
And then realized it's really not that important to uphold facades and all that stuff, and the unimportant things, and started drifting back in. And then, as you can see over here, I've made up for a lot of lost time.
Hey, you know what? That is what it is, man. If we're having fun, that's what matters because life is too short not to have fun.
Amen to that. And it brings people together. Like, that really is genuinely why I stay in it, is the fact that people just come together over fun competition. Um, brings families together, it brings friends together, and I can't get enough of it.
Unless you're 17 and playing spoons with your 300-pound cousin who decides to go diving across the table and breaks the big fancy wooden dining table. uh into pieces as he lands on it full force, grabbing for the spoons.
I mean, it did bring you guys together, though, didn't it?
Yeah,
Well, that's true. We were definitely
yeah.
together.
They had to buy a table after that.
Yeah, my parents were not so happy. but but so last question for you.
Mhm.
When it comes to the con, what do you do and how did you get involved in it?
Well, I'm mostly there to look pretty. I know
You
that's
do a
usually
good
Dave's
job with that.
job, but I've kind of stepped in as he's, no, I'm playing. My big thing, my big entry into helping out with FlinkOn is through social media. Right now I'm a little on hiatus. So you're actually, if you are interacting with FlinkOn on Facebook or Instagram, it's probably Joe, to be completely honest. Just because life and all that. But our idea behind our social media presence is to kind of generate that interaction in the community, in the board game community, in the local, in the Texas area board game community. We're trying to make those connections with people that can bring something interesting and new to the convention, as well as get our information out about what's going on in the convention.
And
What we've got going on. Go ahead.
we have a pretty sizable announcement coming up on that front.
Oh, don't I know it? And I'm biting my tongue. I can't wait till we can talk about it.
I know, I want to
Um,
steal your thunder, but I promise I won't.
oh, it okay. I mean, I appreciate it.
So, all right.
But
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. So we have somebody over here who also is joining us for the first time. So Dario, we're going to be bringing the same questions to you. So let's start with the one that seems to trip everybody up for some reason. What is your current favorite game?
Oh, um, I would have to say Merchants and Marauders. It hasn't changed for a few years. I just like the open-ended gameplay. It's easy to learn. It's got a lot of dynamics. Um, it's a sandbox game set in the age of pirates in the Caribbean, and it's an adventure. I like that part of it. It can be random. There's random events. It plays in about 2 hours with 4 people. Um, just my personal favorite.
Okay. So how'd you get into the hobby of board gaming?
Oh, geez. Well, back when Pharaoh was still in charge of Egypt, I got to play Hounds and Jackals, and so yeah. No, I'm the oldest guy in the group, but my grandfather probably started it when I was about 6. He taught me how to play checkers and some simple card games. And then, of course, everybody goes through the Monopoly phase and Clue, learning the games. Um, I've been playing games probably than any of you guys have been alive. So I remember when the major game manufacturers were, besides Milton Bradley, you had a company called Ideal and Mattel, and they
Oh,
made a lot of kids
Mattel. Wow.
games, and so they're collector's items now, of course. But I remember Milton Bradley made some electronic games, Lost Treasure and Stop Thief, that I found curiously engaging for its time because they used an electronic little computer basically to play the game with. And yeah, so I've been playing for a while, and I've always played and I've always collected. So my library is, I live in a big house with high ceilings, so I've got a lot of place to put my library. So I have more games. I would say I've played half of all I have.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
That's
Yeah.
impressive. I'm happy for you.
shelf it.
That's an
I've
accomplishment.
done more collecting than playing, uh, especially in the 80s, when gaming started to change. Hope you don't mind me taking a tangent here, but the 70s, it was Risk and mainly got played in the neighborhood. I was actually hosting games during the summer. So we'd play Risk and Clue and some of the others, and all the neighborhood kids would come over. Then a friend introduced me to war games, Avalon Hill, SPI, and those blew my mind. By the 80s, that had started to die out. And so I collected a lot of games that people were disposing of because they didn't want to play them anymore.
Oh
And then,
wow.
of course, in the late 80s, when the personal computer came in, board gaming kind of died for a while. And it came back with, I think, one everybody's played, Catan, Settlers of Catan,
Hmm.
in the early 90s was kind of it was not just the entry level game, but it was the game to start the whole gaming genre all over again. So yeah,
Still,
still collecting, but not as much.
I know it gets kind of chuckled at because, oh, it's the standard, it's this, it's that. But I gotta tell you, even after all this time, and even after all the other games that I have played, Settlers of Catan is still the one that I will pull off the shelf and just have a great time playing with the family, with friends. There's
Oh yeah, it's the new Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's the one that
Yes.
everybody can play. It's easy to like. It's really easy to pick up and get going. And my kids have recently discovered it, and that's the first game that usually comes out of their mouth when we have like a game night kind of situation. They're like, "Ooh, we want to play Catan." Well, they want to play Star Trek Catan. We have the Star Trek variant, but that's
Ooh.
oh yeah, it's super. It's still Catan, but you're working
I
with
actually like that
dilithium
one
instead of
better.
wheat.
You got to get what, dilithium crystals, and you got to
Yep,
get like I don't know, star
titanium,
bases.
dilithium, oxygen, water, and food. I think.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and they've actually got a campaign expansion. I haven't dared to try it out yet because it looks like it's going to take a couple hours. And kids' attention spans.
Yeah, yeah, just a little. But you know what? We have a really avid gamer right down here, so I bet you if you needed somebody to help you break it in, it wouldn't take a whole lot of convincing to get him to come and break the box open.
Play whatever.
John, have you ever met a game that you just refused to play, like on premise?
There was one game that I played. It was a pirate game, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it just felt like I was getting hit from all sides, left and right. Gosh, I wish I remembered the name of it, and I can't think of it offhand. But after I played that game, I was like, nope, not again. And it wasn't Merchant and Marauders. Merchants and Marauders is a great. But I don't know. I can't think of the name of it. I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's like me with Station Fall. I tried it once. That was it. I can't. I can't do that one. So
Yeah,
I
it,
know
it
there's some
was
people who really love it, but not me.
it was some game about somebody got appointed as the captain, and on the sail back from plundering and looting, the captain got hit with a whole bunch of stuff with events, and you had to roll, and you had to and it felt like it kind of made it kind of made me feel like uh gosh, what's that game, Space Truckers,
Galaxy Trucker.
Galaxy Trucker, where everything just falls apart on you, everything you build just falls apart. So yeah.
So, looking at everything, I know we have a few different things going on, but before we get too far into everything, one of the questions I want to ask, because we do have guys, I know you've heard about it in episode 1. You heard about it in episode 2. You heard about it in episode 3. And now the head of the bazaar is here.
Dun, dun,
Right here.
dun.
And we're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about it again. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't been there and checked out this bazaar, you are so missing out. I don't know if any of you disagree with me. Feel free to speak out. But I have said since the first time I attended FlynnCon, the bazaar itself is worth the price of admission. Everything else is gravy. The bazaar is worth it was worth everything you pay to go to the convention. So, what is here's the question: what is the best, or not? Let's not say best. I think that can be interpreted differently. What is your favorite item that you ended up getting from the bazaar, and why?
Me or who are we
Oh,
talking
yeah,
to? I'm sorry.
that's an open question. Anybody can
Oh,
answer.
okay. So trying to think what's the best game that I've got. I know at the bazaar this past FlynnCon, I had been looking for the oh gosh, Eclipse, and it just so happened that Joe was selling his copy of Eclipse. I don't know why. It's a really good game, but I guess maybe he just doesn't have time to play it anymore. But you know, but or maybe somebody smashed him in a game and he's no longer interested in it. You never know. So, but Eclipse was my most recent pickup, and I have been looking for that for a while, and it was the newer second edition copy of it. So I was real happy about that pickup from the bazaar. Um, I tend to do a lot more selling at the bazaar now that now that I'm on staff. I don't know where that sits me for that, but before I did a lot of really good sales. So
If only we had the head of the bazaar on this, meeting here who could answer that question for you.
There's always room for more games. The bazaar's been growing, as we all know, and it takes up a goodly piece. It's never not busy. It always has somebody over there. To answer your question, I think this year we had a very unique seller this year. A guy who actually made 3D versions of board games, and
oh yeah,
he had layouts that he clearly spent hundreds of hours doing. He demoed a game called The Thing at Outpost 31, and it was fun. I was having fun watching it played simply because it was 3D and it played the same. Well, I have kind of made connections with him to try to maybe purchase one of his 3D games. So to me, that was I like the little pieces. I'm all about the bling these days. I enjoy a good game that plays easily in about 2 hours and has nice pieces. So uh, that's about my
that's what
main
happens when you
criteria.
pick up all your games in the '80s.
No, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, come on, I need more than these little squares, right? Yeah,
Sorry
no,
for
the
that.
the nice pieces, the nice pieces. If the game plays good, it just table presence sells the game itself sometimes.
Sorry
Oh,
for the
definitely.
background noise, by the way. My puppy decided to exit the room, so
Mm,
he knocked something over on his way out.
no worries.
But how about you, Jim? Did you get anything cool at the bazaar?
Goodness. All right. So let's see. So my favorite part of the bazaar is actually not something directly related to me. Um, in last WinterCon, my wife and kids came, and I swear to you, I told them 1,000 times about it, and my wife knew I was selling stuff at it, but they did not realize how vast it was.
Hmm.
And they actually, while they were off on their own, they went over to the bazaar. They picked up a deep sea to bring home and try out and for us to play. And we've had a blast with it a couple times. But the thing for me was it was those three, because I'm usually the catalyst for all things board games. So
Mhm.
the three of them going over and deciding and finding something that really interested them that they would not have found any other way, really. Um, and to get a deal on it and all that, that is the part of the bazaar for me that is probably the coolest. I've sold with the bazaar. I've made some good sales. I've made some people happy, and they have expressed, like, they've contacted me after, and they said, "Hey, thank you so much. This was my Grail game." Um, and then of course I've found some Star Trek Expeditions. I'm a big Star Trek fan. So I found that game at the bazaar. This was before I was on staff, and that for me, that was, I wouldn't say my the Grail game, but it was in the top 10, where, because it was out of print, it was something that I absolutely desired, and poof, there it was, and for a ridiculously low price. I think it was $10 for it, kind of deal,
Yep.
for an out of print game. And I was like, oh, yeah, yes, please. Oh yeah, I absolutely adore the bazaar, and you're absolutely right, Wes. The bazaar itself, if you are interested in selling or buying games, you're going to get your money's worth just going to the bazaar. You're going to get your tickets money. Whatever you pay for admission, I promise you're gonna appreciate it just going to the bazaar.
Yeah, I don't think I paid for admission to any time when I was there as a guest because of the bazaar.
There you go. Yep.
I mean,
And
and
the
I think I've
fun
gone
thing
to
is,
4 of them before I was on staff. Sorry, Wes, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, anybody who watched episode 2 knows about my finding of terraforming Mars, which I was super excited about.
Mhm.
And the Stardew Valley story. But I mean, there's just so much. There's this guy who sells games, and he sells some gem games from the 1980s and 1990s, and it's a lot of these old classic war games, and the reality is
Without upgraded components.
he may or may
Mhm.
not be on this meeting tonight. So I'm telling you, man, I got North and South, and a few other really fun ones. And I mean, stuff that you can't get. I mean, you just can't get it anymore. And I remember looking at them like, what? Where? I haven't seen these
Yeah.
in forever.
Nobody's seen them in ages,
Nobody even remembers them except for crazy people like me.
except for Dario and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, I probably have it.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
and
haven't
again,
sold it.
I got it was war games that got me into board gaming. Axis and Allies specifically really was my, yes, Settlers of Catan when I was older, but as a young teenager, it was Axis and Allies that really was my gateway into this world. So, but what we had 3 copies of that at the last convention. We had the base game. There was the Pacific Theater and the European Theater. Somebody was selling all three sets of that game. So you never know what you're going to find at the bazaar, man. That's so much fun.
Truth.
But well, guys, we are getting real close on time here. But before we get going, I want to ask each of you a question. If you, because I'm gonna allow you to, if you could highlight one thing, and only one thing, about FlingCon, the event itself, that you would say this is the thing, what would it be? And we'll go ahead, and I see Jim rocking over there. So Jim, we're going to start with you.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm rocking because I'm trying to. I got just one. And I know that sounds campy as all get out. Because I work for Fling, but genuinely, it's hard to say. Um,
If you want, I can pick up while you're thinking about it.
yeah, if you could, I'd
Okay.
appreciate it.
So what I want to highlight for this next upcoming FlingCon that we're going to be doing a lot of is we're really going to be picking up on the staff demos for the next FlingCon. All of the staff members will have the option to demo games, and we will be putting out a list and a schedule of the games that each individual staff member has chosen. It's blank. That schedule is blank right now, but if you go to flingcon.com, you will see a spot for that demo schedule for next winter's FlingCon.
I'm hoping to demo Power Grid.
Power Grid's a good one.
I really enjoy that one. I'd take Terraforming Mars, but Adam might skin me. Dario, you want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, I will. I think it's the people, the quality of the people. I love to mingle around and just see what people are playing, and just the joy that they have being there. You won't find a happier crowd. I mean, we're all kids at heart. That's why we play, but it's a holiday. FlingCon is a holiday, and we do it twice a year. So besides Christmas, it's about as close as you can get to feeling like Christmas to me. Anyway, I enjoy the people.
I will neither confirm nor deny your accusation of childishness.
Yes.
All right, Jim, we come around to you again.
Okay, well, since Dario took the real zinger, I'll take the other one, and I'm gonna say the staff, and I genuinely mean that, because like, it's not just because I know these folks and because we're all doing this together. It genuinely is because the staff is what brought me in. The staff, everybody being super kind, super helpful. Somebody who used to be with Fling, is the genuine reason I came in and was interested in working with FlingCon. But it was because he brought me into a game, sat me down like, hey, I know you play games. Here's a group, sit with these guys and play Foundations of Rome. And I looked at him like, sure thing, guy. But genuinely, and turns out half of the people that were at that table are staff. So it was a blast. And everybody I've seen, everybody I've worked with the con, so helpful. They want to encourage the community to just come together over board games and across the table, and have fun, because the world right now is kind of, it's not the funnest all the time, but this is a place where we can go and we can all just, none of that exists anymore. Like, we're just playing silly little kid games.
Yeah, for the weekend anyway.
Exactly, for the weekend, and we do it twice a year, and we get to have that peace and that kind of that almost nostalgic feeling of being a kid and playing Monopoly or Clue or checkers, just without a care in the world, other than, did that guy take his turn, or is it still my turn?
That is the quintessential problem with games. Is it my turn yet? Wait, did I didn't skip myself, did I?
You did.
I probably did. Leave it to the fat guy to talk about the food, but Axe Shack was quite an amazing thing at the last
It
convention.
was.
So for me, I think the thing that I mean, you could talk about so many things, and I think this is what you were alluding to earlier, Jim. You could talk about the vendors, you could talk about the bazaar, which, look, guys, that's where I'm going to land. I'm going to land on the bazaar because that's I love it. I think for me, I'm going to just kind of springboard off of what you said, Jim, because I think you, at least for me, you really hit it right on the head. It's the community, you know. We have new people all the time, and I love new people. If you are a new people, we want you, we need you, be there. But one of the cool things for me is we have so many people that you see, like, say, John Vallone. You see them con after con after con. You get to know them, you get to know their story, you get to know who they are, what kind of games they enjoy, what they're like. You get to kind of and they become friends, and really it's somebody that you have, a similar interest. You have something that you can kind of lean back into together. And I don't know, I'd like to say it's not just for the weekend, but I mean, I can't promise that for everybody. Not everybody's a, talk to the wall extrovert like me, you know. But the reality is that you, after you've been to a couple, and you begin to go, hey, wait a minute, I know you, I saw you here last time, hey, I saw you here the last two times, what was your name again? Oh, yeah, and you like this game, and hey, have you seen anything new, and what new games are you playing? And it's that community that we're growing. And I think one of the things that John was alluding to last time was it's some of the huge cons. And don't get me wrong, I'd love for us to become a huge con and have to have breakout, rooms where there's like smaller groups, so that you can get back to that small group feel. But when you get to some of those gigantic conventions, you can feel swallowed up. And even if the same people are coming every single time, the likelihood that you're going to see the same person a second time is pretty small. Whereas
Yep.
with us, it's really a community. It's really you want to talk about campy, Jim? Here you go. Ultimate campiness right here. It's really
It's
kind
a
of like a family.
family.
you know uh but I mean, I don't know another way to say it. It's really what
Mhm.
it becomes, at least for me. I won't speak for everybody else. That's my experience with it. And I love, I think the people really are what make this what it is. And uh, and and the staff is a big part of the people, because honestly, and I know Joe said this in episode 1, and I'm just going to reiterate it so y'all can text your sappy notes to Joe and leave me alone on it, because he's responsible for this content. But we wouldn't have a con if it wasn't for the staff. And everything that you see in the con, the family environment, the family friendly event, um the community, the camaraderie that you see, it's because the staff has worked so hard to create that. And the reason I'm phrasing it like that, because somebody's going to say, well, aren't you part of the staff? Well, yeah, okay, but look, guys, I've only been here for a short time, compared to some of the others. So no, I don't count myself as part of that, that group, that core group that built what we're currently. I'm hoping to help build it further out, but they're the ones who did it. And so if you come to our next event, just remember that there are people who've put in years and years of hard work and dedication and love into this. And I don't know, I'm probably sounding preachy and campy as all get out, but
The staff is the reason that I wanted to join FlameCon as well. I've been to the last I think four or five, 4 or 5. And I've always been a bazaar vendor there, but this will be my first FlameCon on as a staff member, and you guys are the reason I wanted to be there. To expound upon that, I agree with it 100%. Dario's my main man, so.
There is gonna come a day, because there will be a day when it happens without me too, that when there will be a FlameCon, and Dario won't be there, and I
Whoa,
tell
whoa,
you,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
that will
Whoa,
be
whoa,
a
whoa,
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 hold on,
whoa, whoa.
hold on,
we are not talking about that.
hold on. That will be an incredibly insane thing, because I'm
Feeling.
telling you, Dario is such a key part of what we do. So is Adam, who we had on last week, and Dave, and Joe. And and the reason why I wanted to bring up this train of thought is separate Dario from FlameCon. you can't mentally, I can't do it. Like
I can't do it either.
I can't
After the
separate one from the other.
first Fling
I
Con,
can't
Dario was
I
the
can't
person I look
separate
forward to. Yeah.
Dave and FlingCon. I can't separate Joe and FlingCon. You know,
Yeah.
these guys are synonymous with it, and so when you say what you say, John, I hear you, but I really want to make sure that we are giving credit where credit is due, and when we talk about that staff that you're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about,
it's
this is it
that
here.
team.
Mhm.
It's the guys who've been here, not me, you know, because I'm the new kid on the block, NKOTB, if you remember the 90s. But you know, I just I really want to make sure, and again, the reason why I took us down this line of thought is I want to make sure everybody understands, you know, there are some pillars, some stalwart pillars in this staff, and we are grateful for them. So Dario, um, please, on behalf of at least myself, if not the others here, you know,
Me also.
on behalf
Yeah.
of Adam and Dave and Joe, please accept our thanks for everything that you guys have done to get us to this point. Man, we are so grateful just to have this and to be a part of it.
I love things too. I think Joe would agree. We're a special band of brothers, and it's only getting better.
Well, guys, I have gone a little bit over tonight. You know, I got a little too preachy, I think. But hey, you know, it's going to happen every now and again. Um, Next week, I'm not quite sure. We haven't quite figured out who's going to be here. But next week should be a game highlight. So if you're interested in a potential new game, something that we're going to be taking it more of an in-depth look at, kind of like we did the other in episode 2 with Terraforming Mars. Be sure to tune in and see if there's something that you want to add to your collection. So, gentlemen, if you haven't already begun thinking about it, begin thinking about a game that you might be able to have highlighted on this segment, and we'll throw some ideas in the ring and see where we want to go. Guys,
Sounds good.
thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Now, again, it wouldn't be right for me to not say this. If you look down below, you're going to see the first thing you're going to see is that like button. Please click that like button because that helps the algorithm on YouTube know that people want to see what the content that we're putting out. But more importantly, over to the right hand side, you'll see a big white button if you're using it on your phone, or a big yellow button if you're using it on your computer, that says subscribe. Click that, click the bell, turn it on to all notifications, and every time you put up one of these videos, you will be notified so that you don't miss a second of our real fun board game talk. And there wasn't so much picking on each other tonight, but I promise you, hang with us long enough, and it's coming. We're a group that likes to have fun. So with that, we're going to bid you all a good night. Thanks, guys. You all have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Take care, all.
Night.